everywhere. A very good afternoon. It is exactly 1 minute past 1 p.m. here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and you are just in time for The Ambassador. I am your ambassador, Susan Nganga. Here is where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. We start the bulletin in South Africa, where South Africa's leader, Julius Malema, responded to Trump's claim of genocide by doubling down. South African politician Julius Malema, who is the leader of the Radical Economic Freedom Fighters Party, responded to President Donald Trump's claims about genocide on Wednesday by reiterating calls to kill white farmers, as Davis Karani now reports.
The South African vibrant opposition leader Julius Malema has stated that he cannot be scared by Trump's statement of urging President Cyril Ramaphosa to arrest him due to the statement that he had released during his campaigns about shedding of blood, which Trump showed a video to Cyril Ramaphosa about Malema's chant to kill the boer, kill the farmer, and shoot to kill.
I will never be intimidated by Donald Trump. They were speaking about me in that meeting at White House. If they were not gossiping about me, they should have called me into that meeting. I would have answered everything that Donald Trump wanted from us.
A video which Ramaphosa tried to argue that Malema's rhetoric did not represent the government's policies, but Trump countered that South Africa had passed a law allowing expropriation of land without compensation, that it had racially discriminatory laws, and that thousands of white farmers were attempting to leave the US, which Malema reacted angrily.
You were told that this organization is dying and it's a useless organization. And it only took Donald Trump to remind all of you that this is not a small organization. It was Donald Trump who said to Cyril Ramaphosa, you can't say this is a small organization because it is the only organization in South Africa that filled up FNB Stadium. And he said he never saw an empty seat. There were 100,000 people and more at the FNB Stadium. Why would you say yourself, as a fighter and a ground force, that your organization is a dying organization when the White House says this is the biggest organization in Africa and in South Africa?
Ramaphosa and his delegation tried to minimize the role of Malema and the EFF in South African politics, describing them to Trump as small and marginal opposition party. But the EFF won nearly 10% of the votes in the most recent general elections, making it the fourth biggest party, right behind the similarly radical Umkhonto we Sizwe, also abbreviated as MK Party, at nearly 15%.
Ramaphosa could not defend South Africa. The whole president of South Africa, he go America and say in America there is a crime in South Africa. Yes, we know that, but why do you say it in America? Because if you say it in America, they will no longer come to South Africa as tourists. Ramaphosa has killed the tourism of South Africa when he declared crime at the White House. It doesn't matter who we are. When we go outside South Africa, especially in front of imperialism, we must close ranks. That Rupert goes and speak bad about his DA in White House in an attempt to impress his masters. We don't like John, we don't like DA, but don't speak bad about them to Trump.
Davis Karani, GBS News.
Very interesting and bold statements from Julius Malema. We'll keep him updated on that story as it develops. Moving forward, we move on to the royal family, where they will be attending a two-day historic visit to Ottawa, Canada, starting today, Monday 26th, up until tomorrow, 27th of May. This will be King Charles' first visit to Canada since he was enthroned. During the visit, the King will attend the state opening of the Parliament of Canada alongside the Queen.
Bon voyage au Canada.
Only 5 days after being presented with the key to the Canadian House by the High Commissioner Ralph Goodell, King Charles will be landing in Ottawa, Canada today, the 26th of May to Tuesday, 27th of May, for a 2-day visit. The trip will begin with a community event in Ottawa, celebrating Canada's cultural diversity. British monarch will then meet Canadians from across the country, including individuals from a range of organizations. The key highlight of the visit will be the King's attendance and opening of the 45th session of the Canadian Parliament alongside the Queen. Here, the King will deliver a historic speech as the British monarch, while Queen Camilla will be sworn in as a member of the Canadian Party Council in a brief ceremony. The royal family will also meet Governor General Mary Simon and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. King Charles last visited Canada in 2022 as the Prince of Wales when he and Princess Camilla marked Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. Victor Udzin, the ambassador.
Moving on to the Russian-Ukraine conflict, where Russia has attacked Ukraine for a third night in a row. Ukrainian regional officials and emergency services said a day after the biggest aerial attack of the war so far killed at least 12 people and drew condemnations from the United States President Donald Trump. The air raid alert lasted 6 hours in Kyiv, head of the city's military administration. Here's more on that report.
Russia launched a combined aerial attack on Kyiv overnight, marking one of the largest assaults on the Ukrainian capital in 3 years. Dozens of drones and ballistic missiles targeted the city, damaging several apartments, buildings, and injuring at least 15 people. Witnesses saw and heard successful waves of drones flying over Kyiv, and a series of explosions jolted the city. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia fired 14 ballistic missiles and launched 250 long-range drones overnight, primarily targeting Kyiv. The Kyiv City Military Administration reported damage across 6 districts of the Ukrainian capital. There was no immediate comment from Russia on the overnight attacks. Despite these attacks, both Ukraine and Russia have agreed to a request from U.S. President Donald Trump to hold a fresh peace talks. This follows a major pre-dawn exchange on Friday, which Trump hailed as a step towards positive developments. However, accusations between Moscow and Kyiv persist, questioning each other's commitment to ending the conflict. The strikes followed several days of Ukrainian drone attacks inside Russia, prompting Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to vow relation on Friday. Reporting for GBS News, I'm Paul M. Mine.
Following up on that story, U.S. President Donald Trump has sharply criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin following Russia's largest aerial assault on Ukraine since the full-scale invasion began in 2022. Speaking on Sunday, Trump said he is not happy with what Putin is doing, referring to a wave of overnight strikes in which Russia launched 367 drones and missiles across Ukraine. The attacks left at least 12 people dead, including children, and dozens more injured, sparking renewed global concern over Russia's escalating aggression. The president revealed that he had recently spoken with Putin, who had reportedly promised to halt strikes on critical infrastructure, a promise now clearly broken. Trump warned that such actions not only undermine diplomacy, but also risk drawing Russia into a deeper isolation and economic collapse. In response to the attack, Trump hinted at possible new sanctions against Russia and reiterated that the war will never have started had he been president earlier. As the international community urges a ceasefire, Trump emphasized that his administration is working to pressure Russia into negotiations while reaffirming America's support for Ukrainian sovereignty. The deadly strikes marks a dangerous turn in the conflict, with pressure mounting on Putin to de-escalate.
He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that. Oh, that's good.
With that, we'll be moving on to our first break. We'll be back shortly.
Anza wiki yako kwa njia sahihi kwa GBS Jumatatu.
Niko nawe hadi mida ya saa 4 asubuhi. Kwanza niseme asante kwa kuzidi kufuatilia na kutazama vipindi vyetu ambavyo huwa tunakuandalia hapa ndani ya GBS TV Jumatatu. People are now seeing the money that have been given to church as a bribe.
Jiunge nasi kila Jumatatu asubuhi kuanzia saa 1:30.
Nimesikia mwenzangu akifanya hesabu hapo ya vile ambavyo miungano zitakuwa. Ruto is going to fail whether with Raila or without Raila.
Kuna mahali anakosea akisema ati Raila na Ruto wataungana. Hakuna kuungana iko hapo, ndugu yangu, aje nikwambie ukweli.
Hadithi za kunoga.
Ukiangalia Wakenya, wananchi wa Kenya, pia hao maisha yao imedhulumiwa kwa kuongezwa kwa taxes, ziko very high taxes. So the statement by Rigathi Gachagua is just statement ya kumcheck that we can see you we can see between the lines.
Na mazungumzo yenye nguvu ya kukuletea utulivu kwa wiki yako.
Ati Raila ataingia UDA
hapo sababu nasema hivi mheshimiwa, ikiwa Raila
itakuwa, mimi naona itakuwa
hadi saa 4 za asubuhi kwa majadiliano ya kusisimua.
Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto ajue ya kwamba sasa yeye ni president wa Kenya. Sio mambo ya kufanyia wana Kenya mzaha. Kupoteza biashara kwa siku moja katika CPD, nafikiria ni jambo ambalo ni rahisi.
Usikose, ingia kwenye GBS TV. Anza Jumatatu yako kwa kusudi.
If the government does not spend, my brother, hakuna maendeleo inaonekana, hakuna barabara zinatengenezwa, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, my friend, economies will not grow.
Tuonane panapo majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
GBS Jumatatu, palipo mjadala wa leo na mwelekeo wa kesho.
Hello kids. Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 and 25 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap year. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long, but time still flies when you are having fun.
Today, it's that day that I would like us just to have that conversation on monthly matters.
Let's talk of Mama Fua. who like akifanya shughuli zake hapa kule has more or less that amount.
Yeah, so on that part, I would say this. When you are doing your savings, you can have, we normally talk about having 3 buckets. So we will just talk about income, budgeting, saving, and investment. Those are the 4 areas we will look at.
Happens to those like me who are planning to retire early.
We are basically looking at our incomes. We also talk about savings and investment. So those are the 3. I will not add the 4th one, which we all shy of talking about. So I would say it's not how much I am earning, but it is how much I set aside. So
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin. Now onto the sports news. Kenya delivered outstanding performances at the Rabat Wonder Diamond League 2025, further cementing its reputation in global athletics and showcasing the role of sports in diplomacy. Beatrice Chebet, the double Olympic champion, ran a sensational 3,000 meters. This time is the second fastest ever recorded in the event, highlighting her exceptional talent and endurance. Here's more on that. Kenya's athletes once again proved their dominance on the global athletics stage at the Rabat Wonder Diamond League meet held over the weekend. The standard performance came from Beatrice Chebet with the historic run in the women's 3,000 meters. Chebet crossed the finish line in an astonishing 8 minutes 11.56 seconds, the second fastest time ever recorded in the event's history. This remarkable feat broke the African record and set a new Diamond League record, placing Chebet among all-time greats in the distance running. In the sprints, Ferdinand Omanyala continued to shine, finishing a close second in the 100 meters with a time of 10.05 seconds. Nelly Jepchirir won the middle distance women's 1,500 meters in a season's best 3 hours 58 minutes and 4 seconds.
I'm very proud for taking this position because last year I was position 3 and I was not expecting this. So I appreciate so much the crowd, especially the Kenyan, most of them, and I support you for cheering us. And I am participating mostly in 1500 and 800. So next after year I'm going to Rabat for 800.
Reynold Cheriot and Festus Lagat secured podium finishes, finishing second and third respectively.
First of all, I want to thank God for giving me strength so that I win this race of today. You know me, the best of 5,000 today was favoring me, so I decided to stay in the middle until the last 400. I decided to kick. You know, understand me, I'm running 1500, so I decided to kick the last 400. Yeah.
In the men's 3,000 steeplechase, Edmund Seram took third place, demonstrating Kenya's continued excellence. Finally, in the men's 800 meters, Olympic champion Emmanuel Anyonyi finished third, adding to Kenya's medal tally. We apologize for that. Now, big news in the world of football. The draw for the Under-17 World Cup 2025 has just taken place in Doha, Qatar. This exciting youth tournament will feature 48 teams for the first time in FIFA history and will run from November 3rd to November 27. Qatar, the host country, is placed in a Group A with Italy, South Africa, and Bolivia. All matches will take place across 8 stadiums inside the Aspire Academy, with the grand final set for Khalifa International Stadium. The draw event was attended by football stars like Abdulaziz from Qatar and Julian from Germany, who now plays in Qatar's league. Qatar 2025 is also first of the 5 Under-17 World Cups that the country will host through 2029, showcasing its growing role in global football. The road to the trophy has begun, and the world's best young talents are ready to shine. Now we head to Togo, where the 30th Tour Cycling International came to a dramatic finish. Over the course of 9 stages and 1,300 kilometers, the country pulsed with the energy of world-class cycling, and at heart of it all, a stunning performance by Team Mali, with Diarra Siddiqui riding into the history in the yellow jersey. It was a tour marked by grit, teamwork, and a powerful display of regional talent. Here's more on that story.
The 30th edition of the Tour Cycling du Togo came to a thrilling close as Mali's Diarra Siddiqui claimed the yellow jersey after 9 demanding stages and 1,300 kilometers of racing. With his teammate Diamotin Tiamoko finishing second, Mali delivered a commanding team performance that defined this year's tour.
The start of the tour was very difficult for us. One of the difficulties was the injury to our captain. Despite that, I was able to get the yellow jersey. The end was happy for us. The tour was a success for the Malian team.
From the mountains of Koza to the streets of Lom, they rode through dust, heat, and roaring crowds. Riders from across West Africa and Europe brought intensity and passion, while towns along the route turned the race into a national celebration of sport and unity.
With the 9-stage route, we were able to start in the north, ride slowly down to Lome, and discover the sublime landscapes of Togo, which I hadn't had the chance to get to know at the time. So it was a real pleasure, with both flat and mountain stages. Just about every type of rider was involved.
More than just a race, this tour marked a leap forward for African cycling. With better organization, global participation, and growing excitement, the Tour du Togo is now a key event on the continent's cycling calendar.
You say that so-and-so is going to win, someone else comes out. It's a bit like the Burkina team. There is a lot of potential in the different teams. It augurs well for the future.
With the 30th edition done and dusted, the story does not end here. The road to the 31st edition is already calling. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
With that, we conclude our bulletin today. I was your Ambassador Susan Nganga. Remember, here at the Ambassador, we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. Thank you for your time and company. Have a good afternoon.
Everywhere, GBS.